again, they can be extremely bright, very, very bright, brilliant individuals. And there's an explanation coming up that I like, that it kind of, the forest, when we look and you see a forest, a lot of them kind of, they'll pick out an individual tree is one way of thinking about it. But so they get so focused on one thing, but they learn it very, very well. And here's some different theories describing autism. This is where that comes in. Simon Baron-Cohen, again, the cousin, this is his way of describing autism. And it kind of talks about, too, in the video, it was talked about the low empathy. They just don't read emotions as easily. They have a difficult time with that. It's a little bit of a disconnect. And I get one way to think of this would be like a really, really high level of testosterone. And it makes sense. You stereotype males or guys at high testosterone levels, that maybe they're a little less insensitive. That's what it would be like. Another one is the theory of mind behaviors that just, the next three kind of are very similar, but it just talks about the difficulty with social situations, social assumptions, facial expressions, body language, all of that stuff. Central coherence, and this is the tree in the single tree versus the forest. They see the part over the whole. They can get fixated or distracted, like I mentioned with the fire. A smoke detector or one little thing could fixate them to where they're going to ignore the fire. They're not going to really realize the fire is going on. And then where we look at, the numbers vary, but a lot of our communication is nonverbal. A fairly high percentage of it, that says 65 to 93. The point being that with so much of our communication being nonverbal, they're going to have a difficult time because they can't read that type of communication. The executive dysfunction deals more with planning and organizing, and just another way of explaining it, they have a difficult time with planning and organizing. In a lot of cases, their days are very, very planned out. They try to do the same thing, the same way, the same time every day. And those of you maybe in here with family members or friends, any comments on that your days are very planned, and if something happens to interrupt that day, that causes a meltdown, that causes an overload, and things go south real fast. So if what we would maybe consider a small thing, you don't have the right thing for breakfast or something along those lines, can throw them off and cause that big of a meltdown. Now imagine what happens when you actually have a medical emergency or a fire emergency. It kind of, again, just puts it on the scale of how big that overload is going to be for them.